So it's late. Maybe like me, you've asked all the questions in the world about have you ever had fun? Have you ever wondered about God? And maybe like me, gotten to the last part of your schoolwork and your business work, and there's time for vacuuming the house. Making a masterpiece for the wall. Writing a poem. Screaming and swearing and yelling like I think human outside, unless Sasquatch or Bigfoot, I think you call the monster in Washington State, showed up. These are all choices and options and decision making. Getting drunk, trying to sleep with some woman at a bar, trying to get laid on a date. Occur in front of your eyes and go into your ears, and they stimulate and they cause energy. But the later it gets, or if you work overnight, the earlier it gets, and then the sun rises. Your body, your brain, but not always your mind unless you're a United States Secret Service agent trained to protect the President of the United States, or Bob Barker. Because you can have the mind of a drug dealer who sells those methamphetamine, crack cocaine chemicals, who can stay out and stay out. And sometimes, like when I was homeless and living in a shelter until I got here now, there was a man who was into gang activity and gosh darn heck, who knows what else, who would sit up all night until but I'd see him and it wouldn't even bother him. He's got a bank account of a richer person, I think, who's just like, gosh, I don't ever want to sleep because I can do whatever I want. But we have to be mindful as, I think, humans to these kinds of conditions and these kinds of people. Who aren't necessarily concerned about their well-being or the well-being of others, for a fair argument to be included. But they don't deserve any less dignity, respect, especially, or you might get dosed, or you might get, beaten in the middle of the night. Dosing is when they just say, hey, let's go smoke some stuff. And then you're not high anymore, and you're like, oh, shoot. And you can have addiction and pain. And your body will not be whole, and your brain won't be whole. Or maybe your mind keeps it all together. But that sound, the blink of the mind, will never stop. It might be enjoyable and fun to stay up all night and then just but in 2010 I had a similar occurrence when I didn't know what was going on, and I had to sleep under a blanket in the winter over at the Union Gospel Mission, and nearly got beat and bloodied for not knowing where to sleep because they didn't have room in the shelter and I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I had to get an emergency blanket, cover myself, and pray. So you could say, as someone who would want to be a chaplain, what would I do? If you want to think about what you should do, my best guess, my best answer would be some prayer if you need spiritual help with sleep and rest after work and school or whatever, child care with your baby, love making with your honey. But behavior does not naturally keep on going forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But when you start to pay attention not only to your behavior, but what you enjoy, then you want to go to bed and you want to get ready for the next day. You want to go to the grocery store. You want to run around in the Pacific Northwest, where I'm at, if that's where you're at. And then you go to Las Vegas and you stay up all night and you sleep in. Or if you live there, you get used to the nightlife and you live a normal life too. But the point is, there's not one rule, not one gesture, not one behavior or movement to recommend. But when you start to figure it out, you start to see the world, see the body as not mysterious, but a part of the rest of you. A person with a brain, a mind, a body, a voice, hands, a face, eyes, nose, ears, in all kinds of different combinations. But we all share the natural conditions for life to be happy and fulfilled and not sad and depressed and full of suffering. But those conditions are not just a secret gift from heaven sent down with angel wings. They are blood, they are sweat, and once in a while tears for happiness and joy, and once in a while for suffering.